right, Crewton Ramone's House of Math seems awfully close. Welcome back. I was doing math today with some people from my childhood, let's put it that way, from back in the day when I used to live in Way. One of my friend's granddaughters was having some issues. I got to find the problem that she gave me. It's over here. She was having problems like this. Let's see here. All right. So Carlos and Maria are driving. Let's see here. Carlos drove a total of 258 miles. So let's get the information out of this story. 258 miles is how far they drove, and it took them 5 hours. All right, this is cool because I love this because, and I got this on video, but it's going to need so much editing because we were talking story about growing taro and all this other stuff and all the various people that I haven't talked to or heard from in many moons. So anyway, it needs editing. But the bottom line is this problem is not a big deal. And it's cool because with our math, we can figure this stuff out. All right, so Carlos drove the first part of the trip, and he averaged 53 miles an hour. Okay, so this is Carlos. Carlos is driving 50. I'm just going to put C for Carlos, is the same thing as 53 miles per hour. All right, so that's going to be our unit of measure. Our unit is equals miles per hour. All right. Now let's see here. That's what we're everything's got to be in terms of miles per hour. All right. So now what? Maria drove the remainder of the trip and averaged 51 miles per hour. Okay. So Maria only drove 51 miles per hour, and I'm not going to put MPH here. We're just going to leave that we know. We're going to just know that that's 53 miles per hour. That's 51 miles per hour. Okay. And what else? For approximately how many hours did Maria drive? Round your answers to the nearest tenth if necessary. And it's like, oh no, we don't know what to do because it doesn't tell us how many hours. We know there's 5 hours. We know there's 258 miles was the total covered. But we do not know much about this. Let's see here. We need more information. So we're going to have to put one in terms of the other. Do we know how long Maria drove? No, we don't. But we do know that she drove some amount of time. Oh, wait, there's one other piece of information that we need to know when we solve these kind of problems, is we need to know this simple concept that what's the distance is the same as? Distance is the same thing as however fast we were driving times how much time it is. So distance is R times T. All right, once we got that figured out, so we need the rate times the time. But we don't know the time, because all we know is that she drove for some amount of time, and then her boyfriend or husband, we do not know the nature of the relationship between Maria and Carlos, but they're in the car together driving. Let's see here. Superfluous. So let's see. Do we know how long Carlos drove? We do not know how long Carlos drove, but we do know that he drove for 5 hours minus however long Maria drove. Right? Now, that's not enough because that's the same thing as the 258 minus whatever Maria did, the distance that Maria did. Maria's distance, however, was 51 miles. We don't know how long she drove, but we know that's how long the distance was. So we're trying to figure this out. So, oh, wait a minute. I know the D, right? I can figure out this D, and I can figure out that Maria, right? Okay, so now we just got to do some extra substitution. We got to substitute inside and substitute. And these kind of problems, they kill children, right? They often cause, much despair and chagrin. And I assure you that the people that called me, they're calling me as a last resort because they can't afford me. And I just told them, don't worry about it. These are, like I said, these are childhood people that I know. So we are going to trade for, they grow taro and they're going to pay me taro. Simple as that. They're going to pay me in poi. All right. So let's see here. So do we know? Yeah, we do know. We know that D is the same thing as 51 times X. So just, you know what? We could just say that Maria is 51D. Oh, excuse me, 51X. and let's put a M there. M and her distance. All right, there we go. So the distance that Maria drove was 50. We don't know because we don't know the time. Over here, we do know that however long, this is Maria, right? This is 5, so this is in terms of that, right? So we're putting everything in terms of Maria because we're trying to figure out how long or how far they drove. So 53, like I said, just logic and reasoning skills here, kids, right? We're just children. Sorry, don't use the term kids. So lazy with my language. But anyway, the idea is that 5 minus x, right? 5 minus whatever, however much time she drove. We don't know. We know that the two of them combined make 5 hours, but we don't know which did what. But we do know the time. We know how fast they were driving. So let's see here. That's D right here, right? Maria's distance is 51 times x, and Carlos's distance is going to be 53 miles an hour. That's given to us in the problem. Times whatever Maria's, whatever Maria's time was, because distance is rate times time. So we're trying to figure out what this is. And then, so we don't know, right? Because we don't know how much time she drove, and we don't know how much time he drove. And that, but we do know that it was 258 miles that they drove together. And I have to take her distance away from that. All right, so let's just do it, right? Because he didn't drive the whole 258. He drove the 258 minus however much Maria drove. Am I making sense? I was making sense to the little girl, so we're good. I assume I'm making sense to you. All right, so now that I figured all that out, let's just make this simpler and say that Maria, and we're going to say her distance, what I put, shoot, I just erased it, was 51. I got to go back and look at the problem. Distance equals 51x. There you go. All right, so bam, put it in over there. So what we have here is now we have set it up where we can see that 53 minus x is the same thing as 258 minus 51x. Why 50? Because that's her distance. We don't know what it is, but we're going to figure it out in a minute here. All right, so, oops, and that shouldn't say 53, that should say 5. It was great because we did this other problem that was simple, and I totally screwed up some very simple math, and then after that, she didn't trust me anymore, and she did her own math. I can't remember what it was. Something really stupid, like 4 times 3/4, and I got 1 out of that somehow, out of craziness, when it's so obvious that it's 3. But anyway, it was part of a problem, and anyway, that screwed up everything. But see, then after that, they don't trust the teacher anymore, and they do their own damn math. All right, so, and I totally did that on purpose. Anyway, not just being careless. The other thing I've seen is a couple of times I write 3, or my writing is so sloppy that, anyway, I get those numbers confused, and 3 is not the same as 5. All right, but now all I got to do is do the math. I mean, how hard is this? This is 265, 5 times that, minus 5x is the same thing as 258 minus 51x. Brah, done. This is the same problem solving I was doing with the other kids, right? We've got it set up now, right? It's totally simple, right? How do we solve this? How do we solve this? Hero 0, because that's the only 2 tools we have, guys. Hero 0, no fun, get back to 1. All right. So, now what? Well, now just solve. I'll use a slightly different colored pen. I am going to, what am I going to do over here? Oh, shoot. I did this completely wrong. Oh my goodness. Scary. 256 and then minus 53x. What the heck was I doing? All right, that's just distributing this. There it is. All right, and there's that. Okay, did I make any other screw-ups? Okay, no other screw-ups. All right, okay. So now we're back in business and we can just solve. All right, so I don't even know what I wrote there or what I was thinking. All right, so let's see. Hero 0, no fun, get back to 1. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add 53 over here. And then I'm going to Yeah, that's going to give me a 0. And then I'm going to add 53 over here. All right, so here's my 0 right there. So what's the name of the game? To have some units on one side and some x on the other, or have some x on one side and some units on the other. The only reason why I added 53 is because 53 is bigger than 51, so it's going to be positive. I could have done it the other way, but who cares? All right, so now let's see here. What am I doing? Just sad. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, so what's 5 times 53? Is 265. Yes, 250 plus 15. There you go. Oh my goodness. All right, fine. Now I'm going to take away. God, can't do simple math all of a sudden. I don't know what the heck's going on with me today. Having these momentary lapses of reason. 2, 5, 8. There you go. All right, now everybody's happy. Can't you see? And you can't fall down over there, right? You can't fall. You got to be able to distribute. You got to be able to multiply 553s and come up with the right answer. And then, all right, okay. So now everybody's happy. All right, gee whiz. All right. Yes, it is. All right. So there's my 0 over here. That's really simple. 53. So I got 2x over there. In fact, I'm going to write it this way just to make it easy. 2x over here, and then that's not a z. It's a 2. I am distracted. I've got other things on my mind is the problem. All right, and then what is that? That's whopping 7. So now we find out that x, hero 0, right? We did hero 0, and then what? No function back to 1. There's my no function back to 1. So x must be 3.5. Done. So if x is 3.5, and the whole thing, so now what? Now I got to do all this crazy math over here. It's 5 hours, right? 5.0 minus 3.5, that's 1.5. Now, don't believe me, because you can see me making errors all over the place. You better check your work. 1.5. All right. Now, let's see here. So that means, from our work that we have figured out here, do I have room? Let's put it back here. Let me. Can I slide out of the way a little more? Ugh. All right, there you go. All right, so I'm going to do some work over here. Where I say, let's see, I know that Maria drove for 3.5 hours, and she was doing 51 miles per hour. So let's see here. I've got 3.5 times 51. And then let's see, I figured out that this guy was going 1.5 hours at 53. All right, let's do some math and see if it adds up to 258. It better, because I have figured out that, yeah, this and this add up to my 5. But now let's make sure that that's right too. So in other words, we're just going to do the math here. So let's see here. I hate doing this math. All right, fine. So it's 51 times 3.5. And I'm going to cheat. I'll put my decimals in a second. All right, so let's see here. What have I got? I've got 150, right? That's the 10, kind of the big ones first. And then let's see here. I've got 3 10s and 25 10s. That's 28 10s. And then let's see, 5 times 1 is 5. So let's see here. Gonna add everybody up and get way too much. Oh no, because I'm gonna do the math. I should just punch a calculator is what I should do, because like I said, my computation has gone out the window for some reason lately, and I watch my videos and just cringe. That's a 3. Oops, that's a 3, and that's a 4. What? No. Yes. Right? Oh my God. Yes, that's a 4. And that's a 5. All right. So, Who am I doing? Yes. All right. Oh my goodness. Somebody multiply this for me. Right? Because I need to move my decimal over. And like I said, uh, three of them, oh God, just do it that way. Three of them is 153, and half of 51 is 25.5, which gives me 178.5. There you go. That is right. All right, so that's this. 178.5. All right, and then 53, that's one of them, and a half of 53, let's see here, is, wow, she didn't do much driving at all. Or he didn't do much driving at all. She did most of the driving. He did hardly any of the driving. Anyway, and that's going to be 26.5, right? Yes. All right, so that's going to be 79.5. All right, so better add these together. 79.5. See, when you don't do the math, you encourage them to do the math when you don't do it right. Anyway, all right. So a 0, a carry to 1, right? We're just adding. Let's see here. Put the point. Let's see here. 9 and 9 is 18. Carry to 1, and I should do that. Okay, let me just do this the way I'm supposed to instead of fooling around here. 9 and 9 is 10, 8, 18. Just notice the 1, the 8. Okay. And then, gee, that's a 5, and get 7 and 7 is 14. So I should do it that way. Boom, boom. Why is it 5? Because I got an extra one. 4 and 7 is 14 plus the 1, and then 2. Boom, done. 258 and 258. They are the same. So we figured out from just that much information. Let me read the problem again. Let me find the problem to read. Where is it? There you go. All right, so Carlos drove a total of 258 miles. Wait a minute. Carlos and Maria drove a total of 258 miles in 5 hours. Carlos drove the first part of the trip and averaged 53 miles per hour. But then Maria drove the remainder of the trip and averaged 51 miles per hour. For approximately how many hours did Maria drive? Round your number to the nearest tenth if necessary. Well, we don't need to because they're just halves. We're happy. All right, so, and it works out perfectly. This is a nice problem, and I love it because it shows you how to set it up. It shows you how, D is multiple things, right? D is rate times time. Okay, well, we know the rate. We know the time, right? Oh, actually, we didn't know the time. We know the rate. We still don't know the time, but we know it's 5 minus whatever that other person is. So now we can substitute D in for that, and there it is. And then we just make sure you do the distribution right, and boom. See, my cognitive load right now is rather high because I have other things on my mind, but it's no excuse. It's just math. But there it is, done. I mean, and now once you can do this problem, and this is why you can do any of the problems because I can just change the numbers. Like there are more problems to do that are the same. Let's see here. Is it another one? Yeah. See, look. Now. Carlos and Maria drove a total of 233 miles in 4.4 hours. All right, so that's now and this is now 4.4. Carlos drove the first part of the trip again, and then he averaged 55 miles per hour this time. So now this is 55 instead. And Maria drove the remainder of the trip at an average of 50 miles per hour. For approximately how many hours did Maria drive again? Round your trip, or round your time to the nearest tenth if necessary. All right, don't need to. All right, so now what? That number instead, it's 55. That's, oops, what was it? That's 50. And instead of this being 5, it's 4.4 minus the x. And you do the same thing. Like I said, once you understand the concept of what we're doing, it's the same thing over and over again. You can find these problems, or problems like this, I believe in the Series A manual story problems. I think there's at least one problem like this. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But if not, here's a video right now for you to do it. All right, so there it is. This is quote unquote advanced algebra. It is not. I mean, look, that's all it is. Just being able to pull the information out of a story. And, you know, it's problem solving. And now all it is 0, 0, no fun, get back to 1. This is the same thing. The numbers are just bigger. It's the same thing as 3x plus 5 is the same thing as 2x plus 7. It's the exact same thing, right? Concept is the same. Okay, folks, I'm building web pages like a bad dog, and oh no, I lost it already. It's here someplace. Anyway, I'm gonna make some fun on my website for you guys, because it is. My price is about to go. Don't have it here. It's around here someplace. I better have not lost that, because that was a couple of hours of coding, or you know, encoding. We're gonna play a game on my website. I'm gonna start putting red arrows in and putting clues on various web pages, and then you're gonna have to crack a code. You're gonna get a little code book, and it's gonna be all kind of fun. And for those of you that want to play me, because you're going to play Crewton Ramone's House of Math. So for those of you that don't want to spend $9.97, all right, for a lifetime pass, well, I'll give you the passwords, but you're going to have to do some math. You're going to have to write some code. You have to learn some stuff. And then once you come up with there's going to be a 4x4 matrix of codes, and there's going to be a 6x6 matrix of codes. And once you figure out all those codes and they're correct, I'll give you a password, right? A lifetime pass. And then you'll do another one, and you'll get a lifetime pass. And then you'll do another one, and you'll get a lifetime pass. And you'll get another one, and you'll get a lifetime pass. And I almost guarantee you that most of you would rather pay the $9.97 than do the math. But we'll see. And it's going to be all manner of fun, and you're going to have to go on. You're going to have to hunt Easter eggs, and you're going to have to do your detective work, and so on. And it's being built into the website as I speak. And I'll show you how it's going to work and so forth, because there's going to be invisible text and all kind of fun stuff that you have to find and code. But all you got to do is look for the red arrow, and you'll know that there's something to do on that page. Or there's information on the page, or there's information in the pictures, or you might have to click something that'll take you somewhere, that'll give you more information. It's going to be a ton of fun. I hope. It's fun for me. It may not be fun for you guys, but and at the same time, if you're doing all this, you're going to be doing all kinds of math, and you can't help but learn math, and that's the point of the website. People haven't figured out that the world is not linear, right? Like, take, for example, the codes that govern us from the statute merchants that have written all these crazy statutes. You better know how to go from one place to another, because it's not all contained in Title 26. It's not all contained in Title 5. It's not all contained in Title 18. It's not all contained in Title 42. It's contained in all of it, and you got to be able to put it together. And then you got to throw the UCC on top of all of that, which is a Uniform Commercial Code. And, right? Okay, it's the same thing. Whatever it is. So you have to be able to do your research. You have to be able to put one thing together with another thing. And now you're going to be able to get your pins that you need, right? And then I'm going to give you all kind of clues, and there'll be pages and blog pages where you do the math and you get parts of the code. See, because what you're going to find out is you're going to get the code, and now you got to figure out where to put the code, right? So then you have to figure out the name of the web page and all kind of stuff. Anyway, it's going to be fun. I hope for you. Meantime, once you can do one of these, you can do any of these. And then you see how I almost fumbled on the 1 yard line by not being able to do this or multiply or whatever. Like, I can't multiply, and right, or not, and then put the wrong number over here and so forth. So you, right, okay, but now, right, this is, once you can do that, you can do, right. And this is what I see with students all the time, is they fumble on the 1 yard line. They get the thing, and then they do the math wrong. Right? These are teenagers, because they can't multiply 53 times 5. Or they don't understand distribution, so they don't get this part right. Or they forget that they got to take away, because this is an equality, this is the same on both sides, right? So this is, see, I'm taking away Maria's time. I'm also taking away Maria's distance. What else can I say about this? And then we got to keep the units of measure the same. In this problem, it's not an issue, but in other problems, it's definitely an issue, where you're going to have to convert miles per hour, some of it's miles per minute. Then miles per minute and miles per hour don't mix. You got to make them all miles per hour or all miles per minute. etc. Anyway, the idea is, and that's constancy. But there is very simple, for free. And the thing that my favorite comments that came out of this child were, "Oh my God, you make it so easy." Right? We're doing other problems. We're doing ratio problems, and here, let's do that one, fast one. Where I showed her the way to do it for school because if I have something like, I don't know, let's just do a super easy one. 4 is to 8 as 32 is to, I don't know. Okay, well, the way that the school wants them to do it, I know this, and I showed her this way for sure, but then I showed her an easier way to do it, is they want you to do 4x is the same thing as 8 times 32. Oh my goodness, what's 8 times 32? Well, 32, 8 times, count the big ones first, is 240 plus 16, which is 256. And then I got to divide by 4 to get x. 0, 0, no fucking back to 1. All right. You know what's funner and easier than that? And can you do that? I hope you can do that fast and easy. It's just simple division. But you know what's easier than that? Because that's the right answer. Isn't 4 to 8 the same thing as 1 to 2? All right, so now, and see what I'm looking at over here is I see 4 8s, right? And in my mind, I see 4 8s. So down here, this must be 8 8s. Well, let's figure that out. Let's see here. I've got a rectangle. I don't know what's in my rectangle. However, I do know that, and this is just playing with the blocks, right? This is fractions. You've seen me do this for days, I hope. Let's see here. I know that this rectangle, when I do 1, is 1, and I've moved over by 4. And so I've moved over by 4. So how many have I moved over by over here? Well, let's see. If I just did my 4, right? Because I know these are supposed to be equal, then I know that this is 4, and that's got to be 4 times 8. And that's got to be 8 times 8. And that's got to be 64. How hard is that? Which, if you did the math a second ago, you'll see that that's 64. All right, well, another way to do that, just keeping the same thing, is that this is 1, right? 32, and this is 2 32s, right? So 1 into 32, I've moved over 32 times. Over here, I have moved over 32 times. Still get 64. Just ratios, relationships, right? Understanding same. And that comes from playing with blocks where I do, let's take this. And I say, let's remember the game where we play, I get 1, you get 2. Okay, so if I get 2, you get 4. I get 1, you get 2. If I get 3, you get 6. How hard is that? Let's see here. Oh, let's do 4. If I do 4, if I get 4, how many do you get? Well, you get 2 4s, because when I get 1, you get 2. So that's 8. All right, so now let's just write it out, and we'll see. Let's see, this was that room? Yes, I do. Okay, so now I have shibbity. Let's see here. I have 1 to 2 is the same thing as 2 to 4. You see them? Is the same thing as 3 to 6. Is the same thing as 4 to 8. ... All the way to 32 over I don't know. Right? That's the problem that we just did. But now let's keep it small because we got little kids. That's not right. We want to give them concept. We don't want to give them computation. We want to give them concept. So let's just do, let's see here, 3 to 6. See, that's a ratio of 1 to 2 is the same thing as, let's go 1 higher just for fun. 5 to, I don't know. Well, I can do, if you want to, I can do 3x is the same thing as 30 and x is 10. This one makes it super easy, but in the other one, it didn't make it super easy, did it? All right, so in this one, I can also just see, look, I know this is a 1 to 2 relationship. All right, so if that's a 1 to 2 relationship, let's just look over here. Well, if that's 1 to 2, Well, then that's 3. I've moved over 3 and 3. Right? 2 times 3. All right. So over here, I've moved over 1. I've moved over 5. And this is 2. So this is 5. Oh, there's my 10, which is a whole lot. 2 times 5, I think. Well, actually, in that problem, it's the same amount of difficulty, because 2 times 5 and 30 divided by 10 is, or 30 divided by 3 is the same, about the same amount of difficulty. But when you start getting the crazy ones, like I just did a second ago, you can see that that if your only arrow in the quiver is cross multiplication, that could be problematic. Okay. Anyway, but like I said, you keep it simple, and then by the time you get to the high school math, all it is the same concepts with bigger numbers. Okay. All of this is contained in Module 1, and I just sold a Module 1 password to a person in Canada, and a lifetime Module 1 password, because people are starting to figure out, no, I'm not joking, the price is going up, and I am spiffifying my website as fast as I can, saving fractions for last, because that's going to be your clue. When the fractions tab and you click that, and the fractions page is basically done, boink, price goes up. It's going to take a while, though, because I've got, well, I'm not even going to get into it, but I've got other things on my mind than mathematics, unfortunately. And it shows in some of my videos. Like I can't believe the other day I was trying to do some really basic math and I just totally screwed it up. And then just now, I don't remember what I was doing, but anyway, I was fooling around with this little girl, and it was this. It was something just completely stupid, and she didn't want to say anything because I'm the math teacher, but or maybe it was 4. I can't remember what it was. It was like 4 times 3/4 or something like that. I mean, come on, people, right? Boom, boom. It's just 3. Done, right? And somehow I got 1 out of that. I don't know how I got 1 out of that, but I did. And but it worked out great, because after that, now she's doing all her own math. Now she's checking everything I do, right? I said, wait a minute, this guy's charging me? It was awesome. But then by the time I got done, she's like, oh my God, that makes it easier. Oh my God, I'm going to explain this to my friends and I'm going to be a hero. And yep, yes, you are. Because the teacher, I don't want to say too much because they may actually watch this at some point, but the teacher got fired from one school because, and now he's teaching at another school. And this girl is completely confused because he doesn't explain boo. He just do the work, right? And I guess they have to go to the internet or I don't know what, but I mean, he doesn't give them much explanation at all. Or when he does give them explanation, unfortunately, he's teaching out of a textbook, and the textbook explanations are convoluted and stupid on purpose. I know many of you have difficulty believing that the magnanimous government that loves you would possibly make it so that you had a difficult time apprehending mathematics, which is simple and easy, but it's true. I'm sorry. So when I show them how to cut through the nonsense and make it super easy, and the base 10 blocks make it so easy, they're amazed, right? And she was completely happy. And now I got poi for days. Because these people they're taro farmers, and they have large. I grew up 2 houses down from where this girl was doing her lesson today. And see, I was up here in Makawao, and she was that, right? Nobody had to travel, and this technology is awesome. Some of you people are in Utah. Some of you people are in, I don't know where you are. But anyway, there's a couple people watching. And when I'm done with this, other people will watch this, and they can be in Canada. They can be in the East Coast. They can be in Africa. They can be in, it's awesome, right? They can be in Singapore. And they can be in Ukraine. I'm big in Ukraine. Actually, not lately. Lately, Ukraine used to be one of my top 10 countries constantly. And at the moment, they're at like 43 for some reason. But anyway, I have fallen out of favor in Ukraine. But the idea is this technology is awesome. If you're watching this, you could be doing the same. Everything I'm doing, you can be doing, right? And charging for it. And people are happy to pay you because you remove the tears from their children when you make the math easy for them. And you have every tool you need. She didn't even have blocks, right? She was just able, but I was able to show her with this visual, and we just went slow, and it took a little longer than it would have if she would have been able to get her own hands on the blocks. But she didn't have blocks, and I was still able to do it, right? Cleared up hours of confusion in less than 90 minutes today. All right, and like I said, there's a super duper rare event where I actually teach math on the first day of the week. But anyway, tomorrow is a full day. I have numerous students. I will try to record some of those lessons and get them up, or at least short excerpts from some of the lessons with my cute little girls that are, I got one that's 5 and another one that's 9, and then a couple little boys that are like, I don't know, 6 and 7 or something like that, or I can't remember, or 7 and 9, I can't remember. They're little boys. And then I have some high school students. And I mean, tomorrow is packed. I have numerous students. It's getting full. I should probably offer Kurt to take some of his students, because I know that he's gotten to the point where he is jam-packed and he can't handle all his business, and it's starting to wear on him because he wants to help everybody. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to try and figure it out. Maybe I could take 1 or 2 of his overflow. But see, this is the thing. Once you get this thing going, you won't be able to handle your business. I mean, you just there's so many students out there that needs help. My website will show you how, first you figure it out for yourself, and then you can teach others. Right? And then just stick with the young kids. Just stick with the young kids. Stick with the 7 and under crowd, and you won't go wrong. Nobody is out there showing them just what I just showed you. Can little kids do the relationships that we just did? Absolutely. Can they do that story problem? Probably not, but with a little bit of time, right? By the time they're 8 or 9, absolutely that won't be an issue, because it's the same thing you've been doing all the time. It's the same concept, 0, 0, no fun, get back to 1, and just setting up the problems. And right? So it doesn't make it difficult. Nobody's teaching them how to factor. Nobody's teaching them distribution at 5. Nobody's teaching them how to, right? And I don't understand why it is that these kids can't just sing songs and play games when they're in kindergarten and 1st grade and 2nd grade. And they'll be well ahead of their peers by the time they're done, because they've learned all their skips counting without pain. They'll know that 7 8s is 56, no issue. They'll know that 9 7s is 63, no issue, because they hear the songs in their heads, right? They don't have to do worksheet after worksheet and start getting traumatized by the methodology that we're using currently to teach mathematics, which I will remind you one more time is an abject and utter failure, right? On purpose. The government gets what it pays for. Just make no mistake. They get what they pay for. When I got my F in calculus and then I went to the Naval Academy, they were like, no issue, right? We'll teach you how to do that. That's easy. And it's true. Calculus is simple, but the way it was taught to me, I could not understand it. It did not make any sense to me. Because I was at a private school, but they were using a textbook from the public schools, and that teacher didn't have a clue about calculus or how to teach math. And these ain't no accidents, folks. All right, I've said enough, and I will talk to you later. So there is a video that you can share or review, and then you can make up some of your own problems. And then what would be cool is to do it in terms of Carlos instead of in terms of Maria. Just try it and see if you can get the same answer. Just play with it. You just fool around with it until you get it. There's no pressure. Nobody cares if you get it right or not, right? And you can teach yourself a lot of math just fooling around. And then another thing, could you draw it? Obviously, you could draw it. And I mean, it's huge, so but right, draw your red squares anyway, and you'll see that it's just 0, 0, no fun, get back to 1. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. I'm going to be posting more links to the web pages that I've built. Do me a favor, if you can find them. I'm having trouble finding some of these where I put the like buttons in there, and then it doesn't render. It doesn't show up. You can't hit a like button because there's no like button to hit. So I don't know what's going on with that, but some pages it works, some pages it doesn't. Usually the like button now, I'm trying to make it standardized, will be under the first picture on whatever page it is. Or the first video, or whatever the first image or graphic is, there'll be a like button, or should be a like button underneath it. Not all pages have like buttons. Is the other thing I haven't added, because I got hundreds of pages on my website, literally. So adding like buttons takes a long time and it's tedious. But generally, when I rebuild a page, now I add a like button. So if you can't find it, no big deal. But if you can, please hit that and then share it. Especially like the counting page. It's got all kind of goodies on there for people that are just starting out with base 10 blocks, and if they got little kids. And from personal experience that most parents, they're not worried about history, they're not worried about English, they're not worried about all other stuff. The one thing that always frightens them and concerns them, because usually they have a bad experience with mathematics, is how are they going to teach math in their homeschool to their kids? Well, I remove all of that. No excuse. $37 a month for 12 months and you're in for life. Soon that's going way up. It's going to triple in price almost. So, well, not quite triple, but I mean, it's going way up. Because I'm caving into some people. It's like, you got to, if you want to do marketing, you want to pay for marketers, you got to make it worth our time. And we'll see. We'll see if we can make it up on volume. But anyway, that's happening. It should have happened at the beginning of the month, but I have some issues going on, so it didn't get done. And it's still not done, but it's going to get done. You can see I'm working, like I said, polishing stuff, fixing stuff, and so on. And I've been working on my website pretty much every day. Stayed up till like 4:15 this morning working on that, and then got up at 7. But see, I can, once I start coding and doing math, it's not, see, it beats working to me, because for me, this is fun. Not everybody considers it fun, but I would like some of you people watching this to build your own websites and start, tutoring and making money doing this, because nothing but edification and gratification when you see the panic removed from these little children. I mean, little children now. I used to be teenagers. Now it's, like I said, in 30 years, this is last month, made my 30th anniversary of formally doing this. All I've seen is it deteriorate, right? It used to be teenagers, but now, I mean, 4th grade, like 10 years old, they're already traumatized. They're already panicked. They already hate math by 10. And as Kurt and some others have found, the number one thing that people ask for is division and fractions, right? We've fallen down. Because now they're so sick of doing the worksheets for multiplication that didn't teach them anything about inverse functions and how the rectangle, they never even see that. They just memorize formula and math facts, which they hate doing. You should have got that done when they were little, right? I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. For everything, there's a season, right? Read your damn book. And the idea is that, or blessed book, depending on diction and where you come from. But the idea is that it's pretty clear in there. So by the time they're 4th grade, they're 8, 9, 10 years old, you're way late teaching multiplication. They should be singing songs and playing around and having fun with blocks when they're 3, 4, 5, 6. My sons had their multiplication tables pretty much done by the time they were 7 years old, right? If you wait, now the brain has changed. It's making a different frequency and vibration. And memorization is no longer what it wants to do, right? There's still sponges and you can still put the information in. There's a way to do it that isn't tedious and painful and harmful, but it's much easier when they're younger. You teach them their states and their capitals. You teach them their multiplication tables, because they're sponges and they just suck it up, right? They're all that language that they're picking up, right? The whole English language they're figuring out how to speak. And you can teach them at the same time you're teaching them mathematics and all that other stuff. You can teach them other languages, right? It's easy to teach kids Chinese and Spanish and English, and right, and Chinese and Spanish are 2 of the hardest languages ever. But if you get them when they're young, no issue, right? My boy's doing great when it comes to Chinese now, because I started him off when he was little, right? Anyway, all right, enough of that. We'll talk to you guys soon. There is plenty of stuff happening at the House of Math. Go check out all the new pages that I've built. You can just scroll on this page and you'll see I'm linking them. If you're in the super duper super secret math group, I'm also linking pages over there. And if you can find the like button, hit it and like it, share it, link to it. Links really help. And I will talk to you guys soon. Happy Sunday, everybody. Crewton Ramone's houseofmath.com for more.